Welcome to J-POP Take a Break. Picture this, a cozy table in a retro Japanese cafe, and you've just joined me here. I'm Terence, a longtime fan of J-POP and Japanese entertainment, especially since the 90s. While we sip something warm, I'll share what's been on my mind about the music, dramas, movies, and more. Let's take a break together. Welcome to episode 7 of J-POP Hi everyone, how are you doing? I have been really enjoying life and just listening to all the different music that has come out recently and really processing them. And the more I thought about them, the harder it was for me to really sit down and pinpoint, okay, what is the theme of this episode or what do I talk about? But I figured then, well, the theme is that all these music that I'm actually excited about. So I definitely have a few songs I would love to introduce you to. So as a start, I am also, for those that have not listened to my podcast before, I talk about J-pop and everything J entertainment related to J-pop. So what I love about the music, what are things that I love to talk about. And as part of doing this podcast, I'm also on StationHead, which is an app where I can actually play the music through Apple Music or Spotify, and we get to listen to the songs together in a sense. So I've already pre-recorded the songs that I want to talk about today, and they are now available on StationHead. So if you haven't listened to the songs that I'm going to talk about today, and you can see the description of what those songs may be, definitely I encourage you to check out StationHead as well, because then you'll definitely get more of a feel of these music that I'm talking about. Or you can listen to this and then go back or pause in between, whatever floats your boat. But I definitely really want to get into it because the songs that I've been listening to are just really fun. And so in the episode, I start off as an opening from the Japanese debut of a new K-pop group that came out in the past year or two, which is TWS, spelled TWS. And they have been a huge group since their debut. I think a lot of their songs have really gotten really popular. And they are from the same agency as another K-pop group called 17. 17 is also very big. They travel all over the world. They tour in the States as well. And so it's another boy group that is from that same agency. And To Us has 6 members, and they are all very young. From my recollection, it's probably late teens to early 20s. And I'm sorry if I'm getting this information wrong. But they are really bringing that fresh vibe and that youth and that energy into all the songs that they're doing. And so they had their debut in Japan this year. So what it means for a K-pop artist to debut in Japan is that usually they go and they actually release some of their music that they've already done that were Korean, and they translate that into Japanese lyrics and they sing the same things, or they actually have original Japanese songs as well. So, and I think it depends on the agency. And, the fact that a lot of K-pop artists, when they venture out into the world, what I'm observing is that a lot of times they do venture into Japan first. Because Japan, it is, at least in the past, it was, or it may still be, the second largest music industry in the world, behind, obviously English music and American music industry. So a lot of artists tend to try to venture into Japan first. And so they release a lot of songs there. They tour a lot. They do a lot of big events. And it's, in a financial way, I think also think it's a very big money earner for them. So To Us is definitely following in those footsteps and releasing their first single called Hajimemashite, which translates to nice to meet you. For anyone that's studying Japanese at all, this is probably one of the first few lessons that you'll learn how to do is, Hajimemashite, watashi wa whoever this, どうぞよろしくお願いします. So that's like your standard greeting way of introducing yourself to someone new and saying who you are. And so it is their saying hi to the Japanese audience. And what I really love about this song is just how fresh and how young they are. And their pronunciation in Japanese is also very good. Sometimes when Korean artists and also any other foreign artists they try to sing in Japanese, you can still kind of tell, oh, they are not native Japanese speakers, which is not a bad thing or anything. It's just that you can notice that, but they have really great pronunciations. And the music video, I think it shows them going through college, but then they are somehow pulled into their memories of high school and they meet up with each other again. And so there is still that youthfulness of them just saying hi and getting to know each other. And yeah, so I think it's just really a fun song to start off with. So I definitely encourage everyone to check that out. And then the other song that I am very, very excited about this week is a new digital single from Official Higedan dism, which is called Rashisa. So, for those that don't know, Higedan is a band that is very popular in Japan, that I have been such a huge fan of that I have gone to their concerts in Japan when I lived more over there. But I've also gone back a few times since to really check out their concert. And they just bring so much style and melody and also meaning to the lyrics. And I get so much energy just listening to them. And if you go back to one of their earlier episodes of this podcast, I'll talk about how amazing their concert was. But their new song that just came out is a theme song for an anime movie that I believe is coming out or has come out, called 100M, which is basically 100 meters. It's a story about two competing, I guess, friends that are growing up, and it's about running. So you can imagine, what it's like to be in friendship with each other, but you're also rivals, and you grow up, and some days you do better, some days you don't, and then there's so much agony and there's so much defeat. And maybe there isn't motivation, and you're wondering if you can really go on. But there's also that thrill of winning and really proving and really that drive to just never give up and just continue going. That song that they put out just now just encompasses all that I've mentioned. And when we look at the chorus itself, I mean, Lassa, um, in my mind, it's, basically the essence of who you are. What does that mean for myself? And the song is basically a conversation with yourself, and it refers to you. So like you are someone who thinks this is, or and that you is really that other part within ourselves that sometimes may tell us maybe you cannot do that. Maybe it's too hard for you to do that. Maybe there are too many rivals out there. Maybe you started too late. And so it's almost as if you are having this constant conversation with yourself, but also knowing that you really don't want to give in. You really want to just keep going, even though you feel that defeat. And in the main chorus, then it talked about how it's like we're holding on to these true parts of ourselves, and we're constantly and the emphasis on we. It talks about the we, like we cried, we laughed, and we're constantly competing without holding back and giving our all to all the things that we love, and we'll still cry and we still laugh, and it also has a part of the lyrics where it talks about like let's take our position as if you're about to run, and it's going to be a match where we're really going to determine who's going to win. And within there's also joy, sorrow, anxiety, and hope, and the heights of bliss and the depths of despair, and all that will belongs to you and me, which are basically all parts of myself. And when we do that, and when we do all that till the day that we, breathe our last breath, or we just don't, we were, at our last breath, we'll laugh and say that, that was amazing. I'm so glad I did that. And I'm so glad to be alive. And that's also how the song ends. So I get goosebumps just listening to the song, but also really understanding the lyrics and reading them and thinking about it as I'm listening to the song as well. But because I can relate so much to just how hard it is to do something that you know your heart is telling you that you should do and you want to do it, but there are also all these other voices that maybe it's another part of you that's being cautious and in a way trying to protect you and don't want you to get hurt. For me, I have been feeling that as I am trying to do new things. I mean, this podcast in itself is something new for me, but also all these other projects that I want to do. And the more important that I feel they are, the harder it is for me to take that first step sometimes. And then I feel like I get into a spiral of, well, then I can't do it. But then if I don't do it, then I feel bad that actually I'm not pursuing what I want to do. And it's just a vicious cycle. So I love how this song just encapsulates all that internal dialogue that I'm sure all of us have at one point in our lives. But I also love the idea of how we're really holding on to all of it, and with all the different highs and lows and all the emotions, all that's a part of it. And then, it's like running, as if it's an analogy to the movie, is that we're running on a track together. But when we really just go all the way till the end, that we will feel that moment. It's like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. That was so awesome. I'm so glad I'm alive. So this is really, it feels like it's such a perfect song for me personally, timing wise, but also I hope that if there's any of you that want a little bit of a boost, and whether it's something you want to do or you feel like you don't have that energy or just want to feel that rush of what it's like to really live, I would highly recommend listening to a song called Rashisa by Higedan, which you can listen to also on my StationHead recording or one of the links that I will share in the description, or you can find it wherever you use your streaming services. Yes, and then the next song that I featured today was from Fujii Kaze's upcoming first ever English album, Prima, and it's coming out on September 5th. And then that song is called Love Like This. So Fujii Kaze, for those that you don't know, he is also a Japanese singer, solo male artist, and he composes a lot of his own songs. And he has been active since he was really young. So he started out posting videos of him covering songs, both J-pop and also English songs, playing the piano on YouTube, and he really got famous from there, I believe. And then around the time when he released his first albums and first songs, he was really the artist to see. But then COVID hit, which forced him to cancel his shows that were completely sold out. But he still kept going and he did live streamings, which generated a lot of views. And he also did a stadium concert for free and streamed it, even though there was zero audience. He's also someone that has been charting with his Japanese songs in certain countries all over the world. So for a Japanese artist to really be well known and not necessarily tied to an anime, I think he's one of the first in recent years, anyway. And I know people that don't really listen to Japanese music, but also knows about him. So he has been someone that people have been really paying attention to. Then in 2024, he was the first guest on Tiny Desk Concerts, which was a Japanese version of the series that's broadcast in the US with NPR. And then he also toured in the US, and also signed with Republic Records. And that's how it started his journey of recording his first English album that is coming out in September 5th, 2025. So for me growing up, I listened to a lot of Japanese music, but it was hard to really get people interested because one, obviously, it's not in English. People don't really know what that is, and you don't really get to listen that easily, especially back then when you could really buy the CDs and you needed to either download or you really have to go out of your way to look for them. And so to get to this stage now where he is one of the people that are people really paying attention to, and there's a chance for people to be interested in him, which I can see as a way into his Japanese music even more. And ultimately, that could spread and be like, hey, what's J-pop? Like, what's there? Which I always find to be really exciting because there's just so many types of music in J-pop, and people don't necessarily realize. And even I would say that some people that just know anime, they may hear a certain kind of type of songs that could typically be used for anime, but there's just so many different kind of genre that people are playing with in Japan and different kind of artists and bands and singers. That's partially why I want to do this podcast, is that I want more people to know more about how awesome J-pop is. But anyway, back to Fujii Kaze. This song that I played is called Love Like This, which is, I believe, the first song he recorded for this English album. And he just had his music video came out for that. And it's somewhat European, somewhat mellow, and it just talks about love. So I definitely think for a day that you want to relax, I think this is one song that you should definitely pay attention to. So I highly recommend it. It's called Love Like This by Fujii Kaze, and he's actually touring in the US right now. And also, I think he'll take a break in September, I believe, and then he'll restart his tour again in October and traveling to places like Texas as well. So if you're in the US, if you're near him, or if you travel to Japan, definitely check him out. So that's Fujii Kaze. Lastly, I closed StationHead with this song called Beautiful Strangers by Tomorrow by Together, or TXT. They obviously, for anyone that's a K-pop fan, they know of them. And I, to be honest, I knew of their name and I've heard their song, well, one or two of their songs before. But for some reason, I've been starting to pay more attention to them this past year. And I'm not a big K-pop fan, but something about them I think has been really intriguing. And they're very talented and their dance is amazing. And so Beautiful Strangers is from their latest album that came out, and they released a Japanese version of that song as well just now. So I definitely recommend checking it out because I think that they also have some really good songs in Japanese. I'm not sure if they release all of them in back in Korea, but there's one that they've done for kind of like a side drama of a school TV show that I saw, I think it was like 2 years ago, that I thought was really wonderful as well. So yeah, so definitely check it out. So these are some of the songs on my mind this week. I have some ideas of what I want to talk about for the next few episodes first, so please keep an eye out. And if you have any ideas of anything that you want to listen to or want, you can message me on StationHead, or you can see my Instagram and DM me as well. But thank you so much for joining today. I'll be back soon with more to share. Until then, take care and enjoy your next cup of J-pop entertainment.